There's a brand new extraction shooter that's just hit Steam Early Access that me and my community have been so excited for. So let's have a quick chat about Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Twisty Shape and it's a pleasure to have you here. Today we're talking about a brand new extraction shooter that's just come to Steam Early Access called the Foreverwinter. And genuinely, the idea behind this game goes so hard. I've not seen anything like it before, and I've played a good number of games, but unfortunately they haven't quite stuck the landing when it comes to their early access launch, and I kind of want to get into it. This is my first kind of video of this type, so bear with me as we get to it, but hopefully you enjoy it, and if you do, make sure to like and subscribe. So without further ado, let's crack on. First off, I want to preface what Steam Early Access is, since there's a hell of a lot of people out there who seem to have no idea that Steam Early Access doesn't give you a finished product. I don't know why it's so difficult for people to get it in their heads, but Steam Early Access is just another coat of paint for Kickstarter. You're just backing a game and a studio. Don't expect a feature-complete product when you do buy it. They're all kind of half-baked and broken and need more time in the oven. That's the idea of early access. So be warned if you do jump into the Foreverwinter now because of my video or somebody else's, it is in early access. Be kind, give good feedback, and if you don't enjoy it, refund it. Don't leave them hate, don't get shitty. There's enough of that going around as it is. The game is in early access, and my God, does it feel like it's in early access. So let's start with the cool parts, which is the premise and the way the game looks. And the premise is just awesome. You're a scavenger. You're not a hero, you're not a soldier, you're not a badass, you're a rat. And you're having to go through this apocalyptic, grim-dark world, scavenging whatever supplies you can to take back to base to keep it running. This includes water, food, ammunition, weapons, you know, the good old shit. You'll be given multiple quests by vendors, etc. to go out in the world to do. Anybody who's played Tarkov knows the sort of thing that I'm talking about, and it's the standard sort of extraction shooter affair. It is only PvE though, which does make me happy because it means I don't have to wait for a bush to shoot me. The map design alone is really cool in aesthetics, and I'll touch again on that a little bit later. But basically, all the maps are these dioramas of destruction where there's shells of tanks and corpses and skulls and God knows what else, but you have to dig and climb through while the war is still ongoing. It very much reminds me of the scenes from Terminator when they're stepping on the skulls. And I really like that aesthetic. You have to duck through alleyways and across the rubble while bullets are pinging here, there, and everywhere. And they're never yours because you can't shoot. If you do shoot, you'll alert entire armies that will hunt you down the more of a risk you are. So generally, you have to go through the world and not shoot, or just try and be stealthy and only use your weapons in desperate situations. And that's really cool because it's such an antithesis of all the other extraction shooters we've seen up to now, which is one of the reasons why I like it as much as I do. Characters and UI aesthetically again look really cool and fit into this world perfectly. Both friendly units and enemies, there's some really awesome ideas flowing, and you can see that the people behind this game are super passionate about the idea that they've got, and it really shows. As awesome and as cool and as badass as all the aesthetics are, and they really are, like the idea and the loop and the way everything looks is so cool. I cannot understate that. At the moment, the way the game plays leaves so much to be desired. I genuinely think they may have pulled their trigger on early access a little bit too early, maybe even so early it could bite them in the ass. I've got about 3.5 hours game time so far, and genuinely I have enjoyed my time with it, but every hour I've played, more and more issues have become apparent. From enemies popping out of existence to enemies spawning on top of me. I've had animations misaligned so I can't use my iron sights anymore. And I've just had weird stuff happen in literally every mission. I originally tried to play this game on stream and I'd been waiting a good 2 hours for it to download and install because my internet's shit. And it just bottomed out my OBS every single time, causing my PC to crash. I eventually got it worked out, but at that point I was just too fed up to keep trying. So I think we got 1, maybe 2 missions, in which both of them I got spawned on top of, and I just kind of gave up. The footage you're seeing now is a recording of me playing the game after this, and while I did have a smoother time, this also crashed after about 2 hours worth of playtime. And as much as I love the aesthetics, and I genuinely really do, the UI quickly becomes convoluted and confusing, with some text just being way too tiny for any human being to read without a microscope, as well as there being a prestige and a skill system that in its current form just feels kind of tacked on. You can also modify your guns, but it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. It is nice, especially because I like being able to fiddle with my guns, and it's a lot more straightforward than Tarkov, but it's not really that impactful. But besides my own pet peeves, I also find that when you're in a map, all the enemies do eventually just look like grey blobs fighting grey blobs fighting grey blobs. It would be nice if there was at least some sort of paint scheme or just way of telling them apart. So for every positive factor that I can find, there's always actually a negative detractor to it, which is just kind of a shame. So we get to the biggest hurdle that Foreverwinter is currently facing, and that is the gameplay. The basic gameplay loop is fine, it works okay, it is serviceable. You go into maps, you scavenge, you collect items, weapons, water, you head back to base, you sell them off, you store your water, and then you continue. But the water mechanic is already a point of contention between some players, as it drains away 1 unit every 24 hours. If that clock ever hits 0, your base is dead. Obviously that's fine for people like me who have the time to play video games, but not everybody can jump on to get the water. And I feel like that's a pretty drastic loss if it ever reaches 0. Now let's talk about one of my biggest hangups, and that's the controls. Your character controls like you're driving a tank using bicycle pedals. It's such a strange control system. It's not properly implemented yet, so there's clearly some work still to be done, but the gunplay and the movement is horrendous. Not to mention the fact that recoil is incredible and the muzzle flash is blinding. Now, I assume it's because you're not a soldier, so you just kind of flinch and all this sort of stuff, but I actually think I'm just trying to rationalize poor game mechanics. It could be a myriad of reasons, but right now, it does not feel good to play. And I feel like I have just ragged on this game non-stop when I really want to make a note that I do enjoy the idea of it. I enjoy the concept, and I enjoy the way the game looks. It's such a refreshing take on something that we have treaded over so many times. I'm hoping that this is just a glimpse at a dev team working hard on making something awesome. I intend to keep playing it. I'm having fun regardless of the issues, but I'm telling you now, if you're going to play the Foreverwinter, you're gonna need to have patience, resolve, and understanding. It is an early access game. You are backing the company, the idea, and the concept. It is not feature complete. It is not finished. So if you're not prepared to have the patience to deal with that, stay away. Stay away so hard. If you're able to act like a mature adult and realize that it's still being worked on, you may love this. You may enjoy it. You may have a good time watching it, hopefully have the most amazing glow up. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at the Foreverwinter with me. Doing this kind of video is something brand new to me, so I appreciate it to everybody who's made it to the end. Hit the subscribe button, like the video. It would do me a massive favor, and that support is, as always, free. And come check me out on twitch.tv/twistyshape. Have a great day, whatever you got going on, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra.
I've been drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9, 'cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple 'cause it feels like a lie.